I am curious, and I feel grateful every day I'm able to talk to different members of Congress from both sides of the aisle, and they visited the border, they've shared their experience. You said that you were at the southern border 3 times. Because you saw firsthand what was there, why do you think, or how does impeaching Secretary Mayorkas rather make this country safer?
I think it's because of the fact that Mayorkas ultimately is in charge of the Department of Homeland Security, right? He's the secretary. He's ultimately the say-so on authority and policy that's enforced. And he did not do the right thing. The right thing, even if he did not agree with Biden, was to stand up to him and enforce the policies to protect Americans. When I went down there, and remember, I got involved in politics because I was volunteering with a counter-trafficking organization. When I went down there, I can tell you that not only were we actually on a tribal reservation that was actually working with cartels to run drugs across the border, but there's literally no physical barrier. I mean, I could jump over a piece of barbed wire that maybe came up to, I want to say my knee. And it's a complete area where people can go through, and then you can actually see the traffic. So there's kids stuff, there's clothing. I mean, it's really dangerous. And a number of these migrants are actually killed in the process, whether or not they're coming in through a season where it's really dry or whether or not it's more nefarious. But, this is not a joke. And it angers me as someone that is Hispanic American to see the way that they treat Americans like we're stupid. We don't understand. They do a lot of the race baiting politics. But not even just that, we have every tool and the ability as members of Congress to enforce this. And I think some members are afraid of taking those hard position stands because they're concerned about their reelection. But that's part of the problem, is that will not allow you to make the correct decisions. The correct decisions is to shut it down and make sure that we're enabling legal immigration, because when you don't, people are hurt on both sides.
How do we make the border more safe, though? Because I've talked to, like I said, members from both sides of the aisle. Everyone I've talked to about the border, Democrats and Republicans alike, have said there is a crisis at the southern border. How do we fix this? Because, as you know, a bipartisan border bill failed in the Senate. So what is the fix here?
Well, the bipartisan border bill failed in the Senate because it wasn't actually in the best interest of the American people from a lot of the nonsense that they stuck in there. So we actually, as Republicans in the House, voted on H.R. 2 that went up to the Senate, and it sat on Chuck Schumer's desk and some of these more open borders Republicans. And I actually had a conversation with a very well-known Republican senator that told me to my face that they would never give the American people or Congress a border security bill unless we had amnesty in it. And as you know, many Americans, to include my family that came here legally, find it offensive to have people that are basically cutting the line, not actually going through the health screening process, not going through the actual financials, or some of the American civics courses that we ask these people to take before they become American citizens. And so I think the number one fix, if I had a magic wand and I could fix it tomorrow, is you cannot allow in any way, shape, or form people to come here illegally, because when you do, it bogs down the courts that are trying to help people that are doing it the right way. And also, again, it incentivizes bad people to exploit the innocent. So that's the first thing. The second thing would be physical barriers, because right now in all 3 sectors that I went to, they were open. I could basically walk over into Mexico if I wanted. And when I tell you I was in a position where we were basically being observed by coyotes and cartel on the other side, it's an uncomfortable position. And I say that as a member of Congress. And then the third thing would be is that if you really, really want to help Border Patrol do their job, they need more bodies and more funding. And so ordering Border Patrol, for example, to go cut wire in Texas not only undermines the authority that Texas has as a state, but it also incentivizes illegal immigration. So you can't have people and policymakers that are encouraging that.